On day 2 of Washington Commanders training camp, Dan Quinn took Jayden Daniels' success from day 1, turned it up with a running clock, and Jayden Daniels produced another touchdown pass, this time of the game-winning variety. That and more on today's episode of Locked On Commanders.
You are Locked On Commanders, your daily podcast on the Washington Commanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome into today's episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, David Harrison, credential member of the media covering the Washington Commanders for CommanderGameDay.com. Here with you every Monday through Friday. Greatly appreciate you coming through today. Everydayers, thank you again for coming back every day. This is your daily podcast covering the Washington Commanders. If you haven't already, please subscribe for free on YouTube or wherever you are listening to this episode. On today's episode, you are going to hear from Washington Commanders rookie tight end Ben Sinnott, and you're also going to hear from second-year defensive back Quan Martin. We're also going to talk about punt returners of all different shapes and sizes. More news and notes from Washington Commanders training camp day 2. But we're going to start it all off with Jayden Daniels, who threw a game-winning touchdown on Thursday. If you want to discuss that, anything in this episode or anything Washington Commanders related, all you got to do is go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnCommanders and send me a text message, send me a comment, your analysis, your questions, whatever it is, you send it to me. I will respond to you. No hashtags, no apps to download, no filters, no none of that. You just text me. I text you. In fact, after Wednesday's practice, first practice of training camp, I actually did like an Ask Me Anything with all of the insiders. They sent me their individual questions, and I sent the responses to all questions to everybody. Because just so you know, it is not a mass text scenario. I text everybody. I can text everybody. I can also just text individuals. But when you text, it doesn't go to everybody. And everybody else's texts don't go to you. So don't worry. You're not going to have like hundreds of people's text messages all coming to your phone all the time. All you're going to see is what I send and then what you send to me. So just to clarify that a little bit. Again, join subtext.com/LockedOnCommanders. I'm texting through practice, texting during press conferences, all kinds of stuff where I should be paying more attention, but I'm actually texting my Commander fan friends over at Subtext. So join that for us as well. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create your account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. On day 2, Washington Commanders head coach spoke to us before practice. Head coach Dan Quinn spoke to us before practice and said he really liked the energy, really liked the communication, really liked the intensity of practice on day 1. So we're going to turn it up a notch. You're going to go ahead, refocus on the red zone again in day 2. That's what they did in day 1, but they're also going to add game scenarios, clock management scenarios, a new wrinkle for the team to challenge them a little bit more. And that's exactly what they did. Before they got to the game management part of the practice, however, they did do a set of 11 on 11s, and Jayden Daniels did run with the second team in that first set of 11 on 11s. Overall, 1 for 4. Don't panic. First pass, left side dig route by Bryson Tremaine, completed. So 3 straight incompletions, which of course you never want to hear about. However, let's put this thing in context, right? First incompletion, Jayden Daniels drops back, nothing comes open, scrambles to the right, keeps the play alive, keeps his eyes downfield, spots Chris Rodriguez, running back, running down the right sideline against the DB. Don't remember who the DB was right now. Puts the ball up for Chris, and I'll tell you right now, that's about the best ball you could get to a running back. Chris goes up to try to make a play. DB goes up to try to make a play. The ball does end up hitting the ground. Chris was very unhappy, to put it lightly. But at the end of the day, Jayden gave his guy an opportunity. It's exactly what you want out of your rookie quarterback. Second incompletion, left side dig route to Zach Ertz, the veteran tight end. Low and a little bit early. So it was a little bit low, but it was also early. Why was it early? Because Zach Ertz got held up in his break, got held up in his stem just a little bit. So he got into his break late, unable to complete that pass. However, what you like is Jayden Daniels getting the ball out on time, trusting his guy to be there. The guy wasn't there that time. It's going to happen from time to time. It also was a little bit low, but as Zach is able to get into his break on time, I think Zach Ertz still gets down and makes that catch on that infield single there. 1 for 4, final incompletion, left side sideline pass to Damiere Byrd. Damiere Byrd overthrown, or it could have been a miscommunication. Depends on kind of how you looked at it. We don't have replay, so it could be either an overthrow or it could be Damiere Byrd during a scramble drill, kind of cut his route short. Jayden said, go deep, and they just weren't on the same page. That's all stuff that you work on through, training camp and practices and all that stuff. And let's be honest, not very likely that Jayden Daniels is going to be relying on Damiere Byrd to get open for those types of plays very often once the regular season gets here. In 7-on-7s, however, Jayden had a very, very beautiful throw to Mitchell Tinsley. Mitchell Tinsley went over cornerback Tariq Castro Fields to make the catch in the right corner of the end zone. Tariq, honestly, in position, right where you want a cornerback. That ball was just in the perfect place, and Mitchell Tinsley just went up and made a better catch, right? Made a better play. The offense made the better play. Dapped up Mitchell real quick after practice about the catch. He was very proud about that catch, as he should be. Second set of 11, Jayden Daniels was with the first team, and this one he went 2 for 3. 1 for 1, right side swing pass to Brian Robinson Jr., not for a touchdown today, unfortunately. Second completion, an angle route to Austin Eckler to complete that pass. Third pass was incomplete. It was a left outbreaking dig route by Terry McLaurin, and it was broken up by Tariq Castro Fields. So Tariq Castro Fields getting a little bit of revenge on Jayden Daniels on that one, breaking up that pass to Terry McLaurin. But now we get to the most exciting, most entertaining part of the day, which was the clock management portion of the practice. And when Jayden Daniels got out there with the second team, for whatever it's worth, which is not a whole lot, big grain of salt there, 125 left on the clock. We presume fourth quarter. They didn't give us a script or anything, right? But we presume fourth quarter, 125. I think they had a couple timeouts in their pocket, and they needed a touchdown to win the game or take the lead. First pass was a deep right side overthrown pass intended for Luke McCaffrey. Luke was wide stinking open. Wasn't able to catch the ball. Jayden wasn't able to drop it in there. Trust me, they're going to work on that, and that's going to be a really beautiful thing to see when they do. Second pass completed, swing pass to the right side to Brian Robinson Jr. Third pass completed as well, intermediate middle dig route to Zach Ertz. And I want to repeat that, intermediate middle of the field dig route to Zach Ertz. So very good ball. 3 for 4, right side, out route to Luke McCaffrey. Next pass was incomplete, left deep side to Davion Davis. They ran the ball on 3rd and 1. I'm going to get to that here in a second. Next pass was completed, right side hitch to Jeremy McNichols, the running back out of the backfield. And then the final pass of the clock management drive completed, right side swing pass to Jeremy McNichols, who basically walked in for what would be a game-winning touchdown with 9 seconds left. At least you assume that this defense could hold the other team out of the end zone for at least 9 seconds, which could be a dangerous assumption if we're going off of last year. But we're going to call it a game-winning touchdown. Now, what was interesting about the 3rd and 1 run play, and I can't give too much information away, right? But I do want to mention this. Very interesting because it's 3rd and 1. If I remember correctly, there was 30 seconds left on the clock. You're down you need a touchdown, right? You're in the fourth quarter. Cliff Kingsbury's calling the plays. Cliff Kingsbury, everybody says, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. Dude calls a run on 3rd and 1. And I'm not going to lie. Initially watching this, I was like, did they just run the ball? Did they just run the ball? And then I'm talking to Zach Perillis of CBS Sports standing next to me. We're talking about it. We're like, you know what? Let's not knee-jerk reaction this thing. Let's actually break it down. They had a timeout in their back pocket. They need 3rd and 1. So at the end of the day, you could either take 2 shots at the end zone or get the 3rd and 1 real quick, pick it up, call timeout, preserve about 25, 26 seconds, and now you've got a new set of downs. You can take some stabs at the end zone if you can. And that's exactly what they did. And honestly, I think in the moment, there'd be a lot of people. If that was a game situation, there'd be a lot of people like, bro, did they just run the ball on 3rd? Bro, they just ran the ball on 3rd and 1. Are you out of your mind? And you know what? If they don't score and win, people are going to point back to you ran the ball on 3rd and 1. You're down. You need a touchdown. The clock's running. Timeouts are precious. You basically gave one away, but they score with 9 seconds left. And as soon as they score 9 seconds left, what do? We look at each other. We're like, that was a good call. That was a good call, right? But anyway, just kind of an interesting wrinkle. Again, nothing to overly analyze, but I thought it was a lot of fun there in the clock management portion. But either way, Jayden Daniels connects with running back Jeremy McNichols. They walk in for a touchdown. Unfortunately, Jordan McGee, rookie linebacker out of Temple, was the guy that was victimized. Something that I really like watching all this red zone stuff from Cliff Kingsbury's offense so far. A lot of creativity, a lot of confusion being caused, right? A lot of chaos being caused with these play formations, with these route trees, their combinations and all that stuff. And that's basically what happened is there's so much stuff happening in a very short amount of space because you're in the red zone that Jordan McGee essentially got lost. Jordan McGee essentially was like, I got to go with this guy, which is exactly what the offense wanted him to do, because then it left Jeremy McNichols wide open on the backside with nobody around him. And you can just kind of see Jordan. He's like, oh, man. Talk to Jordan after practice. He was all right. His spirits are high. He's going to learn. It's okay. It's second day of training camp. We'll be all right. But it was just, it's just a better play again by the offense. And it's something that they'll have to work on and they will figure out. But when you're in man coverage, man, things can certainly happen. Special teams work, very interesting as well, including the development of a new punt returner candidate potentially unfolding in front of our eyes. Mike Sainristil getting involved in punt return duties during practice on day 2 of Washington Commanders training camp. That's coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And this episode of Locked On Commanders is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets. When the Washington Nationals have a game, you got a little bit of money, you got a little bit of time, jump on the Game Time app, and you can find deals to go to that Nats game for probably about as little money as you're going to find anywhere else, because those prices, again, they go down as it gets closer to the first pitch. So take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create your account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create your account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I don't know if I ever expected it to be, but special teams portion of practice on Thursday, was actually pretty entertaining. I'm going to tell you why coming up here. Thank you for making Locked On Commanders your first listener, your first view today and every day. Everydayers, thanks for coming through. Make sure you come back tomorrow. Last practice of the week. We're going to wrap up day 3 of training camp. We'll have more content. Trying to line up a pretty cool coaching guest for you guys. We'll see if I can make that happen or not. PR is working hard trying to get that guest for me. So let's all fingers crossed that everybody can pull through here. But either way, we're going to have an episode, so make sure you come back for that. In the meantime, if you need more sports content, Locked On Sports Today is your place to go for free 24/7 sports streaming, all on YouTube, programmed for you every single day to bring you the biggest sports stories around. So make sure you check that out. Again, live streaming 24/7 on YouTube or for free on the Amazon Fire TV channels app, also free on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Punt returns. I never thought I would say, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time that I have really let off a segment of this show talking about special teams practice. But on Thursday, special teams practice, getting punt return work, Jamison Crowder, Kaz Allen, Mike Sainristil, Jahan Dotson, and Emmanuel Forbes. And the one that was a little bit surprising for me, Mike Sainristil. And again, this isn't necessarily something that like Mike Sainristil has never done before or never had any experience in or those types of things, but still a little bit interesting to see Mike Sainristil getting there. He wasn't in there in the initial punt returner training part of the practice session, part of the practice. He wasn't out there. It was Jamison, Kaz, Jahan, and Emmanuel Forbes. Mike Sainristil was added later. What was really fun about this drill that they were doing is they're basically simulating the punts, right? Tressway wasn't actually out there putting boot to ball, but they were having the defenders, they were having the gunners, right, run around the hula hoops. If you've seen, the figure 8 drills and all that stuff, this coaching staff is using like this equipment in ways that I've never seen before. And this was a really fun drill that kind of makes me wish I was like a high school special teams coach, because I would just do this drill every day. But they had 2 hoops, so you got 2 gunners, right? You got 2 gunner pairs on each side of the field. There are 2 hoops and 2 guys running around the hoops, and they're kind of like jogging. And then at one point, the special teams coordinator or coach, I can't remember who it was, but somebody would be like, go. And then you run as fast as you can. Finish getting around the hoop. If you're not around the hoop, get downfield. The ball goes in the air. Punt returners got to watch the pursuit, field the ball, and then also make a move to try to get that first layer of defense to miss, so you can get 6, 7, 8 yards, whatever it is on the punt return. It's a really cool way, and this is just my watching it, right? I didn't get to talk to Coach Izzo, the special teams coordinator, or anything like that, but this is just me kind of watching it as an outsider. What it did, and I don't know if this was the pure intention, but what it ended up doing is because these guys are in different parts of this hoop every time. So if you're Jahan Dotson, you get out there to field a punt, they're not just guys lined up, and when the whistle blows, they run down the field, you catch the ball, you make a move. No, like the guys on the left side might get a faster release because of where they are in the hoop versus where the guys on the right side are. And so every single time you field this punt, your pursuers, the people coming to defend the punt in this case, look different. They're always in different positions. So every single time it's the same drill, it's another rep, but it's a new rep and it's a new challenge. I thought it was really cool. I think coming out of it, Jamison Crowder, I think looked the best, guys. Jamison Crowder's going to be your punt returner, right? like we all know this, right? Jamison Crowder is going to be the punt returner. I don't know, man. I think Kaz Allen maybe has the opportunity. Haven't seen him muff a punt yet, so that's obviously a good thing for Kaz. And I think certainly there are some parts of Kaz as a punt returner where he does look improved this training camp compared to when we last saw him. But Jamison Crowder, I mean, he just, he's a vet, man. Like, he's the guy. Um, Feeling the punt, making moves, man, making guys miss. Doing really good. He had one where he got around both pairs of defenders, and I mean that would have been an electric return. Kaz Allen certainly looked, agile, and that's what you expect of him. Mike Sainristil, I think, looked probably third best in that drill as far as a return standpoint goes, and then Jahan Dotson, and then Emmanuel Forbes, who, to be quite honest with you, Emmanuel Forbes just can't juke away from people. So I you guys know this already every day. I don't buy Emmanuel Forbes as a punt returner, so I don't think that's going to be a thing. But we will see. The team continues to work on it anyway, which they should. What else they also earned, or what else they also continued working on? Here's some other news and notes from day 2 of Washington Commanders training camp. First team offensive line, which again, don't read too much into it because it's very, very early. But Cornelius Lucas was at left tackle for the first team. Brandon Coleman with the second team the entirety of practice. Nick Allegretti, the starting left guard. Braden Daniels is getting reps at guard. I can't tell you he's only getting reps at guard, but he's at least getting reps at guard. So hallelujah. The Washington Commanders are listeners of the Locked On Commanders podcast, confirmed, because I've been screaming every day, as you know. I've been screaming Braden Daniels is a guard. Talked to somebody else about this who's very plugged in, very connected. They said they talked to their buddies, and some of them are like, Braden Daniels is a guard. Some of them say Braden Daniels is a center. Some of them say Braden Daniels shouldn't be in the NFL. Bottom line is, no matter what your opinion is, Braden Daniels ain't a tackle. So Braden Daniels finally getting some guard reps. We'll see what he can do. Dude's very strong, so that obviously is going to work in his benefit. Emmanuel Forbes with the first team secondary for the most part. Michael Davis did get some first team reps in there, but Emmanuel Forbes, by and large, was the first team cornerback opposite of Benjamin St. Juste. So take that for what it's worth. Did get beat on a couple of plays. And I know we talked about the Terry McLaurin one where he got behind Emmanuel Forbes, but Emmanuel Forbes also won some reps as well. So I want to make sure we throw that in there. It's not like Emmanuel Forbes is out there being abused every single rep. Biggest difference between quarterbacks, Jayden Daniels, Marcus Mariota. I know some people in the comments, people on Twitter, some fans just very much believe that Marcus Mariota should be the starting quarterback. Guys, I'm here to tell you, once you see them in person, I'm seeing them in person. Jayden Daniels is already the better quarterback. Marcus Mariota, the biggest issue I've got with Marcus Mariota's game right now in practice, where he knows he's not getting hit, where the interceptions don't count, where Dan Quinn has said himself, this is where you take chances. This is where you're like, that's kind of a tight window, but let's see if we can fit it in, right? He's holding the ball too long. And I'm talking snap, drop back, set, hitch, set again, hitch. We were actually kind of talking about on the sideline, and one of the other reporters was like, hey, man, you could probably make a song out of that, because I'm watching him. I'm like, drop, set back, set, hitch, set back, set, hitch, right? Marcus Mariota just holding the ball way too long. Jayden Daniels not holding the ball way too long, being very decisive. Even when he runs or rolls, he's very decisive, and he's not taking a lot of time to make that decision. Somebody else who's looking faster than I expected, certainly, defensive end Clelin Ferrell. One very first team rep. So Marcus Mariota was in there with the first team. Clelin Ferrell just completely blew right by Cornelius Lucas. Like, Cornelius Lucas may not even realize that they were practicing yet. That's how fast Clelin Ferrell got past him. Ended up on the ground, unfortunately. Did look shaken up for a second, but he got up and walked it off, and he practiced the rest of the time, so he's fine. But Clelin Ferrell, man, getting in the backfield quick. There was a run play to Brian Robinson later on in the practice on the right side of the offense formation. Clelin Ferrell was back there to blow that thing up. So Clelin Ferrell looking incredibly quick, which is either a really good sign for Cleveland or a really bad sign for the offensive line. I don't know what it is yet. I'll let you guys make that decision right now, but we're going to just wait and see. But we're going to make some notes there. Percy Butler, the second safety on the field deep when Jeremy Chin went in the box. So your starting safeties right now, first team safeties, shouldn't say starting, first team safeties, Jeremy Chin on one side, Quan Martin on one side. Sometimes they flip-flop, doesn't really matter. But when Jeremy Chin drops into the box as a Buffalo nickel, star, whatever you want to call it, linebacker safety hybrid, it was Percy Butler getting the first opportunity to go back there with Quan Martin, not Derek Forrest, which is what I would have expected. Now, Defoe did get in there, but I thought it was interesting today, and today only, that Percy Butler was the first guy in there. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And then I want to start wrapping up these segments, segment twos, with a quote of the day. And today I picked a quote from linebacker Frankie Luvu, who met with the media at the podium today. And he said, I asked him, actually, so this is not self-serving, I promise you. I just think this is the best quote. But I asked him about linebacker Bobby Wagner and himself getting in sync. They do have some history. They do know each other. So I just asked him about that. He said, quote, sometimes we don't say anything, but we just feel each other. And it just connects, man. Like, we just kind of play off each other. The communication level between me and him is on point. So it's moving forward. And the process is to keep it like that, end quote. And I love hearing that. And the reason I asked him that question is there was a play during the team drills where there was a completion given up. Ken Norton Jr., I don't know which one of the linebackers he was talking to, but he's like, hey, you can't do that. There's something else you got to do. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there's something else you got to do. Bobby and Frankie, They come over together, they talk. I don't know who was wrong, it doesn't matter, but they boom, 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 quick conversation, line it back up. Did not see that kind of a play happen again in the entire practice. Communication is on point. And I'll tell you right now, that thing happening where a play gets blown and two guys come together, talk it out, handshake, we agree, we understand, boom, let's get back to playing, did not happen in previous iterations. Usually, play gets blown, one guy goes, one guy goes, no, one coach goes, come on, and then they just play again. No conversation, no communication, just go back out there and do another rep. So the communication on point with the Washington Commanders. I hope you're enjoying my energetic, demonstrative hand gestures. Coming up next, you're going to hear from rookie tight end Ben Sinnett and defensive back Quan Martin. That's next on today's episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we're doing that thanks to our friends over at eBay Motors. This episode of Locked On Commanders is brought to you by eBay Motors, who knows that passion, drive, and patience is what it's going to take for an NFL team to bring home a winning trophy. And it's also what it's going to take to keep your ride or die vehicle alive. And eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle or even level it up to peak performance. If you're looking for a supercharger, a roof rack, exhaust kits, LED headlights, even more, whatever you're looking for, whether you're into speed, power, or style for your car, eBay Motors has got you covered. If you're looking for a car cover, they got you covered there too. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you're always going to find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're going to burn rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Wrapping up today's episode of Locked On Commanders, talking to two members of your 2024 Washington Commanders roster, rookie tight end Ben Sinnett and second-year defensive back Quan Martin. We're going to fire it off with Ben Sinnett first.
You know, you come into here, Zach obviously will be able to potentially learn a lot from him, but you're both new to this team.
Yeah.
Can you take me through the dynamic just so far between you and him?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. The whole tight end room's awesome. Really close-knit group, and we're just continuing to help each other. Obviously, Zach being a guy who's been here 12th year, he's been around the block a little bit, knows the ins and outs of this game, so the dynamic's been great. He's been super helpful, bringing all of us along. We got a fairly young tight end group as a whole, so he's been able to really help us and give us what he has and share that knowledge. So it's been a great dynamic.
What's been the biggest jump, if any, from the off-season, rookie, the off-season, and now the second day of training camp? What's been the biggest adjustment?
I mean, you go into OTAs, it's about an hour practice, no run plays really, you're just throwing passes and kind of your 7-on-7 stuff. So really, now that it's full team, we got defensive looks, I mean, it's really opening up that whole playbook, bringing the run plays along and being able to put drives together in that 2-minute scenario or just in team, different situations with red zone or open field, that kind of stuff. So I think just being able to open up that playbook with the team periods, with the defense actually in front of us. So
You talked about trust, you're trying to earn the trust.
Yeah.
That's a lot going on with this group as far as team building and things that have happened. Trust is like a big key word for this group.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, every play you got to be able to trust the guy next to you. You got to trust the coaches to make the right call. You got to trust the kicker, the quarterback. You got to trust everybody on your team. We really want to form a culture where we're brothers, we're close, and I think that's kind of what we're doing. DQ is implementing a great system, and the rest of the coaching staff are really putting that together, and I think we're building something really special with guys being able to really learn about each other, learn about our stories, and be able to have that trust, 1s through 4s, everybody on the team. So I think we're coming a long way, and it's just going to continue to grow over time. So,
could you talk a little bit about your process as far as what are you seeing in the development of your game from when you first got here up until right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you come in here, you don't know the plays. They send you your iPad, so you kind of get a limited view of what you're looking at, and then you finally get here, you start to figure it out and understand what we're trying to do. And after you figure out, okay, I'm lined up, I got my play. Now I'm trying to figure out what the defense is doing. How does my route adjust against this look? What kind of coverage do I see here? What do I expect to be able to do? So it's really the post-snap stuff now. The OTAs let me kind of learn the plays and understand what we're doing. So now it's just making adjustments off that post-snap and seeing what the defense is doing and how I'm going to adjust and win on my route. So
I think the casual fan might not understand how much work you guys put in off the field. So can we talk about, do you leave like yesterday? Do you leave like mentally taxed?
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, a lot of the fans and the casual fans see what happens on Sunday. But obviously, like a fall camp and a work week that we're doing right now, I mean, we get done with practice now, and we got meetings from 12:30 to 7 o'clock tonight, just studying film, seeing how we can get better off the field. So, I mean, you leave this place tired, but it's cool that this is my job. I mean, I love what I'm doing, and being able to come and attack every day. And I want to be mentally taxed. I want to continue to grow and stress myself and see where I can be. So it's definitely a fun thing. But yeah, definitely leave this place taxed.
Ben, how much does your role change from college to NFL? Like what you did in college to what you're asked to do in Cliff's offense? Is it a huge difference? Is it very subtle differences?
It's definitely a little different. I mean, it's just a different scheme, a different way that Cliff uses the tight ends. I mean, K-State's a little different from an NFL offense to where, I mean, we're running power and we're getting in two-back sets and getting an I formation, and that's not something that we're going to do here all the time. We're going to continue to expand the offense and hopefully use some of that, but this is just a different way of doing things, and it's a great thing. And I think that versatility that I got from college is definitely helping in this offense, and I'm looking forward to see what I can do.
How would you describe Jayden's voice/cadence?
It's great, yeah. A lot of our stuff relies on verbal calls and obviously our cadence and having a good cadence game. I think Jayden's great and continually to get better for sure. So.
Is it unique how much cadence game you guys use here?
I wouldn't say it's unique. You definitely get a little bit of everything. You got to be able to do everything with these NFL stadiums. But we had a lot of experience in college being able to do pretty similar things. So it's a different cadence, but it's all the same in the sense where you know when to get off the ball and when to not. So it's been good. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. All right. Once again, that was rookie tight end Ben Sinnett. And here is second-year defensive back out of the University of Illinois, Quan Martin.
Dan Quinn, that defense, lots of guys on the back end that are versatile. He likes to move a lot of different positions, which is kind of one of your strengths. How have you seen kind of the strengths of your game helped by this system?
For me, I haven't moved really at all a whole lot since OTAs, but man, I've been in playing safety most of the time, so man, it's been great. Coaches putting everybody in position to make plays and be successful.
Do you feel kind of Dan Quinn's energy, that level of intensity, and he's just real upbeat,
every
players
day,
coach kind of?
Every day, players coach. He's the same guy every day. Comes in with that energy, man. He's gonna motivate us and just set a standard, and nobody's above the standard. So he emphasizes that.
How do you try to balance, knowing that it's a learning process, you guys are early, with the sense of urgency of, we've got football in a few weeks?
Yeah, man, like you said, it's football's in a few weeks. So just knowing the standard, knowing the demands of the defense, and just putting ourselves in the best position to make plays and be successful.
How do you feel like you've grown kind of as a communicator, as one of the, now veterans on that back line?
Right. Man, it's been a lot. When Coach Quinn first came in, he just told me, I just work on being more vocal, and since OTAs, I feel like I've made a big jump in just being more vocal, making checks in the back end, and putting guys in position.
Quan, when you had the opportunity to look back to last season, obviously as a team, not as fulfilled as you guys all wanted to be, but from a learning experience as a rookie in the NFL, where do you feel like you learned the most from your rookie season?
Really just late in the year, man, when I was on the field. Sitting in the meeting room with those guys, just learning what to do, what not to do, what works, what doesn't work. And when I just got on the field, everything just came together, just repetition, just being out there, seeing different things. And just taking that and just adding to that this offseason, OTAs and camp.
And what can you tell us about Johnny Newton as a teammate?
Man, he's great, man. We always at Illinois, we talk about pass rush and coverage goes hand in hand, and he's one of those guys who can get up there and get after the quarterback, so he's going to help us make plays in the back end.
And what kind of conversations he had to be frustrated, right, having to wait and be patient to get his first NFL practice in. What kind of conversations you were having with him as he was going through that?
Really, man, just stay patient. I know it's been pretty frustrating for him, just from the draft and everything that he's went through just to get, healthy and be here. So man, just tell him to keep his head on straight, and his time's gonna come.
And Coach Quinn talked about the importance of kind of picking up where you guys left off from the mandatory minicamp and the energy, the communication. You and Jeremy Chin were kind of getting a nice little roll together. How do you feel like you guys have come back to that these first 2 days?
Man, it's been great. Yesterday was a little shaky, but today it's been a lot better. Just communicate more, be more vocal, and just setting the standard of what we want this defense to look like, what we want this defense to be.
And you feel like you're playing fast yet in this defense?
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, just being able to communicate more and just knowing where I'm supposed to be and when I'm supposed to be there.
And that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Coming up tomorrow, we're going to wrap up this week of training camp practice. Friday is the last day of practice, open to the media. Saturday, we're off. So make sure you come back for that. In the meantime, if you got questions or comments, throw them in the YouTube comment section or text me directly by becoming a Locked On Commanders Insider at joinsubtext.com/Locked On Commanders Insiders. We are going to do another insider-only Zoom conference on Saturday at noon Eastern time. So look out for that link. If you want to get in on that link, joinsubtext.com/Locked On Commanders to get in on that action. Don't forget to check out Locked On Sports Today, the first ever 24/7 live streaming sports channel on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making Locked On Commanders your first listen of the day, every day. Thanks for coming through on a consistent basis like you do. Until we speak again, if you're out and about, please be safe, be kind, and I will see you next time for another episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.